and welcome to Paranormal Chronicles. I am your host, Joe Miranda. Today's episode is a promise made, promise kept. But before we go any further, I just want to make it very clear that I'm a flawed man and I'm a sinner. I do give God all the glory. And I believe Jesus Christ is my Savior. And I renounce Satan. However, I do not underestimate Satan's ability to blind minds, eyes, ears, and hearts here on earth. This episode is an addendum to the last episode, Empathetic Symptoms. The entire day of April 6th and into the following morning had been one giant roller coaster ride for me. It was bad enough that it was my mother's 26th death anniversary. But to then find out that my uncle's friend had passed, to taking ill in my home, to the ambulance ride, to the ER, and then all those subsequent tests at the hospital that followed. It was a lot to process in a very short time. Things began to level out once the doctor told me that my test came back normal and that I was going to be discharged. Now, initially, there was a tremendous sense of relief knowing that I was going to be fine. However, it was short-lived as I imagined the costs for the ambulance ride to the ER room, the EKG, the blood work, and the CAT scan. I did try to look on the bright side. I was still alive. I hadn't had a heart attack. From all indications, I was pretty darn healthy. But one thing about roller coaster rides, there's ups and there's downs. And I've been planning to buy a shed from my backyard. And I figured I could all but kiss that idea goodbye. As I waited in my triage room to be discharged, I began a deep dive into the last 24 hours. All my medical tests had come back negative. I was extremely grateful for that. But because I had experienced empathetic symptoms on at least 2 other occasions, I was convinced my taking ill had everything to do with the recent passing of my friend's uncle. Now, I'm not sure if what I heard next was me merely soul-searching or if it was the Watchers. Either way I heard, is it worth it? Having a medical event and believing your life may be coming to an end is truly unnerving, folks. And this was at least the 3rd time I'd experienced it. So I did need to do some soul searching and ask myself if this amazing gift was worth the toll it was taking on my mind, body, and finances. Don't get me wrong, I was grateful for the impressions I'd received and shared over the years, especially the last 13 years. And was just as grateful for the comfort and reassurance I had provided for those in need. I also remember the not so pleasant moments and the relationships that it had cost me. I get it. Sometimes what I have to share is way too intense for some people to accept. And that's okay. My role is to deliver the message. That said, we all have agency to believe or accept in whatever message God is sending. The thing for me was whether I'd had enough and if I was ready to throw in the towel. In the end, I told myself, you just need to suck it up. You've come too far to just throw in the towel now. Strange calm then came over me. And a few moments later, I heard, "Don't worry." I knew that had come from the watchers because it came across so matter-of-factly, as if the bills getting paid was already a foregone conclusion. I was discharged an hour later. Within a week, the ambulance bill came in the mail. That ride cost me $2,352.80. There it is. Now, here's where things get interesting. Around the 22nd or 23rd of April, I received a check in the mail from my escrow company. The check was $4,600. That's the invoice I received from my escrow company for the check they sent me. Seems I somehow overpaid my property taxes. Does that ever happen? Now, the check was dated March 31st, 2026, 7 days before my medical scare. Folks, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. The watchers are never wrong. The hospital bill came the following week. He charged me $27,000 for blood tests, an EKG, a CAT scan, and a 5-hour stay in the ER. Now, I don't want to sound ungrateful because those fine people were definitely there for me in my time of need. But $27,000 is pretty damn pricey. Fortunately, my insurance company was able to negotiate down the bill where my out-of-pocket portion was $1,400. There it is, folks. $27,000. When I shared the story of my blessing with my friend Craig Perry, he immediately referred to passage 82:10 from Doctrine and Covenants in the Book of Mormon. I, the Lord, am bound when ye do what I say. But when ye do not what I say, ye have no promise.